Within 2 weeks, we looked like a rag and bone army. Our faces were drawn with the loss of weight, our uniforms matted and soaked, our boots were damaged, and we were hungry for solid food. Despite all this, morale was very high in the reassuring knowledge that we had marched and taken most of the island without a battle or a loss of life so far. So they're making rapid progress. And they're not really coming up against any enemy. The enemy's retreating. Every time they roll into a place, they find remnants of where the enemy was, or they have intelligence that the enemy was there, but the enemy's just leaving. So it's just them against nature. Yeah. That's where it's been for the most part at this point. They keep humping. We shuffled together and we were informed that we would be marching straight onto Mount Longdon that night. The battle was about to begin. So this is a prominent piece of terrain called Mount Longdon. We had no time for last letters or anything else. We packed our kit and were briefed and ready to go within 2 hours. The battalion formed up and marched uphill again, spilling out of the settlement towards the summit of Estancia. The route we took was atrocious. We crossed a rock field of some sort. The rocks were sharp and jagged. In 4 hours, we only covered 3 kilometers. Sweat ran down us like water. I stopped at one stage to take off my soaking long johns. We came to halt as the order, turn back, hit our ears. What's the fucking matter now? Someone shouted. Just turn back and do as you're told, screamed an officer. Just on the other side of the hill, out of the view of Stanley, which is the capital, the lads had been ordered back. Why? Shortly after, we learned that the cabbage heads, so they call, that's the Marines, and there's Marines, Royal Marines are down there working and running some of the major operations, and they call them cabbage heads. Shortly after, we learned that the cabbage heads running the show hadn't agreed to our advance. They didn't think we should take the risk of going into battle on our own. So the Marines wanted to be there with them. So they said, "Oh, don't go to Longdon yet." Back to the book. As we were milling around a peat fire with 9 Squadron, a chopper came down from one of the mountains. Some nosy lads ran towards it and quickly brought back a report that some Marines had been in a blue-on-blue contact that night. So another blue-on-blue. A returning patrol had stumbled upon a mortar-based team asleep and had shot them as they lay in their sleeping bags. There were 3 to 4 dead. Whatever we felt about the Marines, we were sorry for them on that day. If you're out there and you use a gun for part of your job, whether you're in the police department, whether you're in a SWAT team, whether you're in the military, I'm telling you, the blue on blue happens. And you got to do all you can to train for situations and always be aware that it can happen. People don't think it can happen. That's why it happens.